All right. Hello. Welcome back to another market open. It is March 23rd, 2023. We are here again with the market open. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Grown plays. Hello. I'm shorting McDonald's because of the lyrics in Throbbing Grease Hamburger Lady. Okay. William, Cameron, Surrey, Ty. I really thought the market would surge yesterday on 25. Must have been yelling, flapping those. Well, it went up for a little bit, and then it went right back down. Quarantine, Uriel, Jeremy, Ray, Jason, Cameron. No, Code Strap is gone. So I knew about this Code Strap news about a month ago. Unfortunately, he is indeed gone. Or he has to leave YouTube now, but he's leaving for a really good opportunity. So, all the best in the world to him. And I think he's going to explain exactly why on Sunday in that video. It sucks. Great member of the Palantir community, but honestly, he's leaving to further the cause of Palantir. So it's not the worst reason for why he's leaving. But yeah, it does suck because he's not going to be able to make content anymore. Which is also, people are like, oh, Amit, you should get a job at Palantir. I'm like, if I get a job at Palantir, I will never be able to say a word about Palantir. So that's kind of the sucky part about working there. Like, I think theoretically they could hire me when it comes to marketing if I really applied, but I would have to shut down everything social media wise because they're such a secretive company. They don't want people to talk about them. So yeah, it is what it is. Got to deal with it. We have Square down 16.5%. This is the latest victim of the Hindenburg short report phenomena that just came out literally 25 minutes ago. I did a take on them on my morning cowbell show. Hindenburg is shorting Square. And look, the argument is that Cash App users have been fake or misleading, and it's like they have an argument, but the way they justify it by talking about how rap songs are using Cash App as like a way for them to market fraud is like just such a childish kind of argument. It doesn't make like a short report make a lot of sense, which is why I don't think the argument is that good. Palantir up 1.46%. Again, Square down 15.9%. But I mean, we can go through the report a little later and you guys can see if you think there's anything convincing there in the argument. I personally just did not see anything super convincing from my perspective. TikTok is on the hot seat today. Yeah, TikTok's going to be grilled. I'm actually interested in really seeing the president of TikTok and how he justifies. I mean, I've heard all of his arguments, but I would be interested in seeing how he justifies it. Pete, good morning. Felicia, husband is up in pre-market, but I said, hold on, Amit is about to go live. Felicia, I appreciate you. That's awesome. Johnny, what's up? I thought Code Strap was going off to war. No, he's not going off to war. I missed something in the live earlier. Did someone say 25% of... So HD Hyundai bought 25% of Palantir Korea. So not Palantir, but the subsidiary of Palantir in Korea. So that is what was purchased. Nate, what's up? I've been eyeing Square puts on a while. I use Cash App exclusively for my banking and purchases and investing. So I use Cash App for like a couple of things. I don't use it for a lot of stuff. But look, I don't think Square is a bad business or deserves to be down 15% off the short report. Now, they said 40 to 70% of their users, their monthly transacting users, which is about 51 million, are fake. And if that's the case, well, let's say 40% are fake. You've got 20 million people that are fake. You have 32 million people that are left. If they're able to put up the revenue they're putting up on 32 million users, then that's actually not bad in my opinion. Now, obviously, lying to your investors about how fake your users are is not good, and it justifies some type of investigation, right? Because if investors are betting based upon user growth, then that's bad. But the revenue they're putting up isn't fake. So if the revenue they're putting up is on less amounts of users, then it's weird they would lie about that, because at that point you're actually putting up strong revenue. Your average revenue per user goes up if you have less users and your revenue is actually higher. But every company wants to show user growth. So if they're lying about that, that's not a good thing. And lying about that at the tune of 75% of people being fake. A lot of the interviews they did with the executives at Square said that the users are all, there's like 50 users for one account or 50 accounts for one user, right? And like a lot of them end up just being fake, fraudulent accounts. If that's the case and Square is not dealing, and you expect like 2 to 4%, discrepancies in user numbers with things being fake because you're dealing with it at a big scale, like 2 billion Facebook users daily. I don't think all 2 billion of those daily active users are actually daily active users. But 70%, that's bad, right? That's not the best. Tesla up 195, 4%. Now, everything fell yesterday in the market. Enphase also up at 206. Literally everything went up yesterday after Jerome Powell announced 25 basis points, and then everything fell down like a rock. SoFi also up 2.34%. So some of these companies that are up are still down based on yesterday's massive fall. I mean, you had Tesla go from 190 or 200 right down to 190. And so now it's up at 195. But yeah, some of these companies were hit yesterday. FRC is up 6.8%, up at $14, ended yesterday being at $13. From yesterday's decline. Did you guys miss me? Sorry, I've been working on a new business venture. David, thank you for being back, man. Hope things are going well. I'd love to know about your business venture. I wish you the best on it, man. Congrats on working hard and keep going for it. Yeah, let me know. I mean, we're on Instagram, so you can DM me anytime about it. Glitch Life, good morning. Scott, middle class is getting hammered. People will stop making payments. That is potentially something that is true. I don't know if that adds to the short report. How do you think Jack is feeling? I think Jack's looking at the short report like it's a joke, to be honest, because when I read it, I didn't say it was a joke, but it definitely at the end of it felt like it was lacking a little bit of logic for me to feel like, oh my goodness, this is like everyone should short this stock. This is like undeniable proof. So I think Jack, he's a seasoned vet. I think he's thinking that's probably a joke. Amit, did you end up watching the Tyson chick CEO talk about Palantir a few months ago? Yeah. Tyson saved $200 million. Yeah, I mean, Tyson is a great case study for Palantir. Again, no one bought 25% of Palantir. They bought HD Hyundai bought 25% of Palantir Korea. So a subsidiary of Palantir has been bought for 25%, which is good because it was a company that was using them. So it's important that they are buying. I mean, if you use them and it's working so well that you have to buy a piece of equity of them, that's just a good thing, right? In general. Square payment services suck. I thought you said cancer. My concert with puts is Square Space versus Shop would need to do more research before puts. Yeah, I don't think it's worth buying puts on, guys. I really don't think it's worth, especially it's already at $59. I don't think buying puts or shorting Square at this level is worth it. We're gonna have to see. Create podcast. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Thoughts on Coinbase crash? Will SEC sue them? So I did a take on this on my morning show just 20 minutes ago. We have the market open, by the way, in 53 seconds. Look, first let's go to Coinbase. My weird conspiracy is that they're down 19% pre-market. Goodness gracious. My weird conspiracy is that maybe America's trying to get rid of crypto, which is why we're now going after the biggest crypto exchange, because the SEC report, if you look at it, it has to do with staking, but they approved 57 explanations of staking on Coinbase's S1 back in 2020 when they IPO'd for $250. So they knew all the staking that was going on, and you can't be like, oh, we forgot to read it. It's like, oh, that's your fault, right? You can't blame them now. So them going after them feels a little iffy. It's like, why are you going after Coinbase when Bitcoin's starting to hit a little bit of a higher level? I mean, it just doesn't feel like natural. But look, the SEC is probably going to do the enforcement, and when they do the enforcement, we're going to see kind of what happens and where the crypto markets go from a result of that. 9:30 a.m. March 23rd, 2023. Thank you all for being here. The stock market is now open. Wake your ass up. The stock market is now open. We've got Square down 17.9%, $59. So if Hindenburg had a $10 million short on Square, they're already up 18%. And being up 18% in a day is not easy. Warren Buffett can barely be up, 18% for a year. So this is why you've also got to take into account the bias of short reports, is that if they're that dramatic and they put the market into a frenzy, Hindenburg can close their short report right now. Unless there's some law against that, I mean, they could get 18% on their money today and call it a day. And all they had to do was write some little report that talked about how rappers use Cash App. Literally, they were like, rappers use Cash App in their songs to talk about fraud. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's the best argument. Coinbase down 17%. GameStop down 4.4%. Rocket Labs up 0.26%. First Republic up 9% at 14.55. Robinhood down 0.45% down at 8.89. Super Microcomputers up 2%. This is a stock that Chris has been yelling about for a while. Again, $6 billion in revenue, market cap now 6 billion. Market cap was about 5.8 billion. The PE of 8, growing at 50% year over year. Well, PE is 11 now. But this is one of those interesting stocks that Chris has been yelling out for a minute, and I'm going even deeper on them. If you want semiconductors or a play on AI and chips that's not NVIDIA and AMD, SMCI might be a company to look into. C3 AI at 23.24, up 2.15%. AMC up 3%. SoFi up 1.2%, comfortably at 563. Enphase up 2.85%, now at 207. Ethereum at 1,700. S&P at 395, so relatively flat, nothing too crazy. Let's go to Bitcoin. I would imagine Bitcoin is still at, 27,530. So Bitcoin not mooning past 30,000, which is kind of the psychological barrier you would need to see for Bitcoin to start moving up a little bit. Tesla 196, Enovix. We talked about this on the Daily Cowbell last night. If you don't know, I do a live stream now every day with Vitaly on this channel at 10 p.m. to 10:45. So we talked a lot about Enovix and some of the leadership behind Enovix. It's a speculative play, but the guy buying it turned around Enphase when it was $1. Enphase now $200. So leadership playing a big role into the decision on looking at what Enovix can potentially do. They're into battery technologies. That's kind of their core thing. Meta at 203, up 1.8%, probably because TikTok CEO testifying in Congress today. There's no way the guy says anything that Congress wants to hear. It's going to be just like a political, party, honestly, them making fun of TikTok and accusing him of censorship and all this stuff. But let's see if he can defend himself in a meaningful way and convince some argument. Again, 150 million Americans use TikTok. So if America gets rid of it, they're going to be disappointing a lot of people. Now it's just a question of if they force the sale of it to someone else. I don't think they ultimately ban it. Spotify at 130, Trade Desk at 59, Pinterest at 27. Pinterest actually up decently from about a couple of weeks ago. Snapchat also up nicely at 5%, up 5% at 11.66, and Palantir up 2%, 8.39. All right, let's get into some comments. Sachin says they said that they are looking to 65 to 75% downside on Square. They can't close the position. Okay, makes sense. So they cannot close the position at 17%. 65% downside on Square. I think they have to be very comfortable. They have to be very, very comfortable then to be down on Square. Square down 20%. Look, I read the short report, and again, it looks bad, but then when you really dive into it, I don't know how bad it possibly is. If Cash App is their main argument for user growth declining, I don't know if that's the nail on the head that gets the job done. So Star Buccaneers says, forget Hindenburg. I bought more Square. There you go. So some people are buying more Square. They can't close before, or they won't. Okay, so then they're gonna keep it going. They said 70%, so it falls 20% in a day. They just can't close it. Yeah, so I guess they're waiting for 70% downside. That's a hell of a wait then, because it has to really fall. Coinbase also down 15%. So you've got Coinbase and Square, and again, Square, it's known as Block formerly, right? Both are in the crypto space. Both are in the Bitcoin space. Both leaders, theoretically Bitcoin maximalists. And that's why my theory today, which, it may be a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but does the United States want crypto to fail? Do they feel that the dollar is being devalued and crypto would be, in Bitcoin in particular, would be the asset that people flee to? And as a result of that, they're going to pull the switch just like China and use some type of regulatory argument to get rid of these companies. Obviously, Hindenburg's a little bit different, but it's oddly weird that Hindenburg is shorting Square the day that Coinbase gets a Wells notice by the SEC. I mean, this is just, it's a very interesting thing that's happening. That's for sure. Let's see what else we got. Square used to be 275. Yeah, Square. Let's go to Square's all time. Square was one of those stocks. Yeah, 289. I remember October 2021 when it fell to 90. I was thinking of Square a little bit more because I was like, it's down from 280. That was the hard part of being an investor in 2022. When Square fell from 289 to 100, you're like, oh my goodness, it is just destroyed. From basically 300 to 100, I should think about getting a position. This is what screwed a lot of meta investors, like being down from 380 to 220, and then it went down to 88. Now Square from 289 went down to 100. Now it went down to 57. It's like, and this is why it's hard to believe that we're going to get even more of a horrible declining economic climate. Because you look at something like Square that's down so harshly from 289, it's hard to be like, how much more lower can it go, excluding the short report, right? Same thing with Meta at 88. How much more lower can it go? Same thing with Google. How much lower can it go? And so maybe indices can fall, but individual equities are just been destroyed so badly. Again, Palantir $8 from 45. How much lower really can it go? But if this short report has any legitimacy towards it, we're going to see a lot of rebuttals going back and forth. You check out Supermicro. Yes, I just talked about Supermicro, Chris. I just told people that it's up and it's doing well, and it seems like you picked one that's not bad. Someone actually commented on our live stream yesterday that they're mad that Chris sent you down the Supermicro rabbit hole because the financials look too good to be true. And yeah, I would argue that's correct. It does look too good to be true. Okay, Cathie Wood bought 67,000 shares of Square yesterday. She went on CNBC. Let's get some of her thoughts on what she feels about some of the stocks that she has. Again, she sold Coinbase yesterday, so that was the right move, but she bought Square, and Square is now down 20%. It's like a top 5 position for Cathie Wood. Oh shoot! Hold on. Oh my goodness! That was okay. You guys are gonna laugh about this. The reason I shared the video on a different screen. Oh my goodness, that was so dumb. I shared so I have a different live stream open, and that was the old one from the morning cabal, and I opened that one and I shared it. That was just oh, that was so stupid. Yeah, so I had a different live stream open because I have 2 shows this morning, and that one was still open, so I shared it on that one. That was so dumb. All right, now we got Cathie Wood. Sorry about that, guys. That was dumb.
Best day for inflows in 2 years and the greatest day of outflows since September 2022. Joining us now is ARK Invest founder, CIO, and CEO, Cathie Wood. Welcome back. It's good to see you, Cathie.
Thank you, Sarah. Happy to be here.
So in a sort of perverse way, the banking turmoil has been really good for your funds, right? Because we've seen lower rates and all these tech stocks rally. Is that how you perceive it?
Yes, in a way. Typically, when we know the Fed's going to pause, the market looks over whatever's going to happen tomorrow, and it may be 25 basis points. So I think we're there. I think the banking crisis has put us there. But I do think that, the Fed or the FDIC is here to save the day. I think that's too easy an answer right now. And I don't think that the Fed or many of the people I hear discussing this really do understand how harmful this is to the underlying economy. And our strategy tends to do pretty well when interest rates are coming down and when the cyclicals are weak. And I must give you and your team credit, because you're raising this question more as people are saying, no, there are 2 things going on here. One's financial stability, one is inflation. Well, they are related. And if we're right, and deflation is the bigger risk here, and we obviously our conviction has increased. We've been saying this ever since last spring when credit default swaps started going up on the banks. We were saying, ooh, there's a deflationary risk. And then we had the inverted yield curve. And then, my letter to the Fed, which basically was asking the question, how can you be unanimous with these 75 basis point increases when these financial indicators are yellow at best, and really we thought flashing red?
Well, you might get your wish. I mean, the Fed expected to raise 25 basis points tomorrow and then, according to the market, be done and start cutting, which I know would be helpful for you. But my question, Cathie, is the result of all of these issues and the lower rates is that the market now thinks we're headed for a deeper recession and starting to price in that, no longer the soft landing camp. And in that kind of period, wouldn't you want, especially technology stocks with better balance sheets that are more higher quality than the sort of newly profitable or unprofitable and riskier tech stocks that you're in?
Well, something very interesting has happened over the last year, actually over the last 2 years. So our strategy peaked out in February of 21. A lot of our companies had done secondaries when they were booming. The stocks were booming in 2020, early 21. And today what we find, now that they have the cash and they've been cutting costs, streamlining. Our ARKK fund has a weighted, on a weighted basis, a runway of roughly 6 to 7 years of cash. And our ARKG fund, which is where we would have the most questions because they are very early stage, they have, and it's because the markets demanded it, been cutting costs, raising cash, and they have 4 years of runway. So we actually think we're in very good shape, and that
If you compare that to like Berkshire Hathaway, they probably have like 10 to 20 years of runway for cash. Obviously, ARK is betting on more speculative stocks, but interesting. So ARKG, which I think is the most speculative, has 4 years of runway. If and in 4 years, if those companies don't perform, they're done. And RK is about 6 to 7.
interest rates coming down is going to be another booster. Again, it's the valuation hit of the last year that has been so severe to our strategy, February of 21 to today. And that was all related to the Fed jacking up interest rates 19-fold in less than a year. Unprecedented. We think it's like an earthquake, not just for our strategy, actually. We now think the earthquake is rolling off of our strategy and into other strategies. And those that are cyclical, we think are going to face some quite severe challenges during the next, I'm going to say, 6 to 9 months.
Well, if that's the case and cyclical is under pressure because of the economy, because of the Fed, I mean, why have you been adding Block, for instance, the last few days? I mean, really?
Okay, so Block just got shorted. This was a couple of days ago. Let's see what Cathie said. I think that this was like 2 days ago. What is Cathie saying about Block?
Amassing a pretty sizable position in this company, which is so tied to consumer discretionary spending.
Yes, what we're seeing with Block, Square, Cash App, we're seeing two things. It is reducing the cost of financial services, and so more people are flocking to it. And in fact, it's developing a closed loop ecosystem, and we believe could be one of the big winners in the digital wallet space.
Now, again, the short report said that their customer acquisition cost is so low because they're marketing to criminals. That's what Hindenburg is saying. It's saying that Block is marketing itself to criminals. That's where you get into the whole hip hop rap songs are using it as like a criminal marketing ploy, whatever. And as a result of that, a lot of the accounts that Cathie is saying is like easing up these financial conditions for consumers, they're fake or they're fraudulent. Either or is not good, because if they're fraudulent, that's bad for Square. And if they're fake, that means they're just lying to investors about these 51 million active users. So this thesis that she has is right if the short report is wrong. If the short report is right, then it's not easing up financial conditions for consumers because those consumers aren't using the product.
Where it won't even have to interact, where their clients won't have to interact with banks. Cash App and Square will take care of that and really become the financial services company. So, and what that does is takes the number of toll takers, if you have a closed loop ecosystem, the number of toll takers in a transaction between a merchant and a consumer drop from 9 to 3. And you can find that analysis in our Big Ideas 2020.
Okay, again, either she's right about this or she's wrong about this, but the short report is not as convincing. I would recommend you guys check it out. Let me actually put it in the chat so you guys have a chance to see it. Again, I did a video on it, but let's just let me put this in the chat so you guys have a chance to see it. Oh, we got Tanner in the chat. Not a fan of this report. I believe the price will rebound quite quickly. Yeah, Tanner, I felt the same, bro. I read the report and I was just like, the argument to me that seemed the weirdest was they literally made a compilation of rap songs, and they're talking about how rappers are using the word Cash App in their songs to be able to, talk about how they're committing fraud. And like some of those lyrics are pretty bad. I get it. But Cash App has marketed itself towards that community. If you look at the podcast, the sponsor, the way they do their marketing, they've really integrated well with the hip hop community. That's why their cost per acquisition has gone so low, because like people in that community like using that product. They know that product. They see that product. Jack Dorsey even bought Tidal from Jay-Z for $297 million. So he has a relationship with the hip hop community very intimately in terms of how he approaches it. However, I don't think that's enough of a reason to be able to say that the users on Cash App are fake, or that there's massive fraudulent activity of people scamming on Cash App happening at scale. And if that's not happening, then this report which Cash App is the main focus of this report. I mean, that is the main focus of this short report. It doesn't really have a lot of legs to stand on. But I mean, we'll see. I have to dive deeper into it. I haven't dived as deep as I wanted to yet. So I'll have to go see even more. Coinbase still down 14%. We've got a little bit of green. Look at all that green. We've got Enphase, Palantir up 840. We've got my beautiful Enphase that I've just started a position in, up 5%. So 212, there you go. You've got some Enphase that's up. Tesla at 197, Ginkgo Bioworks up 4%, Amazon up 1.2%, Triple QQ up 4.2%. Today, Robinhood up just a little bit. Super Microcomputer, Chris's stock, up another 4% at 117. I think he started buying it at like 90 or 80. So congrats to Chris. This one's up pretty nicely as well. I'm not buying today. SoFi's at 570. I think today's a weird green day from the market. I think we're going to get a little bit more of a pullback. So today's not a day for me to buy at all. Like SoFi at 570 probably shouldn't be at 570. Probably should be more around 520, 530. So let's see if we get a little bit more of a decline. I have been DCAing over the past month, so I'm pretty happy. I've established some decent positions, but my cash secured puts on SoFi are seeming very secure right now, given how SoFi is doing. But I don't know. It seems a little bit too green after what the Fed announced yesterday, especially with Jerome Powell seeming a little hawkish. So I would wait a little bit before deciding to buy anything today, especially at some of these prices. You would want to wait just a little bit more. Enphase moving too fast. Yeah, Enphase moves fast. That's why I got it at 180, because I see Enphase move fast. See, Chris, this comment right here is exactly what I feel. Surprised I didn't see the N word a few times on that short report. That short report literally is like, you could argue they're trying to make an assumption or an argument about who Square is marketing to without saying it explicitly. And it's one of those short reports that's like, man, that just doesn't. They're basically trying to say that all of Square's customers are criminals and they're marketing towards just criminals. And like, if they're primarily marketing to a hip hop community, that's more urban, the way they're implying it, it's not. That's why when I got to the end of the report, I'm like, I don't know if the argument here makes that much sense. I really don't. Is your portfolio overall green or red? It is overall green today. It is very green as I'm looking at it right now. And I don't want it to be green. I would like it to be bad. I would like it to be more red because I would like to buy some more. What's Hindenburg's track record of being right in the long term? I actually don't know. Can someone look this up? Can we look up what Hindenburg's track record is? Good morning, Amit. Your short beard game is strong. Showcat, I appreciate you. For those that don't know, Showcat, one of the most earliest subs on the channel, he just got married like a month ago. So shout out to you, Showcat. Happy you're married and happy you're enjoying married life. The ticker for Square is SQ, even though it's called Block, but it's SQ. Yeah, me and Chris will be talking and ripping this short report up on the daily today as well. Yeah, overall, I mean, look, let's see if CNBC is talking about it, if they're doing anything about short, if they're doing anything about this Hindenburg report. Again, it just doesn't seem that strong, but maybe I have to look at it again. Maybe I'm not really getting it, but I need to get it even deeper. Okay, we've got a job report as well. Weekly jobless claims. Let's take a look at this. We've got some weekly jobless claims and see what's going on there. Thank you to 280 people being here. It means the world to me. Thank you for spending your morning with me. Let's take a look at weekless jobless claims.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Rick Santelli here live at CME HQ with the breaking news of the day in the form of initial and continuing claims. For the week of March 18th, initial claims, 191,000. 191,000. What's notable here is that's a bit less than expectations. And at least for the moment, until we get a revision, it's 1,000 below last week's 192,000. And it is the lightest level since the last week of February. And the fact that it's psychologically under 200,000, it would be a good thing if you were measuring the economy from a labor perspective, but not necessarily from a Fed perspective. Keeps the labor market, of course, tight. And continuing claims remained under 1.7 million, their psychological threshold. That's the week of March 11th, the week in arrears for initial claims, 1,694,000. 1,694,000, a slight revision to last week, 1,680,000. So they moved it 4,000. So once again, under 1.7 million, that's the lightest.
So we've got jobless claims coming in at 191,000 versus 198,000. I don't know. It's not significant enough of a decline from what the Fed was looking for I think the Fed to be either happy or sad about it, to be honest. 191 versus 198. So nothing too serious, but nonetheless, we do have a bit of a decline in those job numbers. Ty Gordon, rappers, points at stock, cashes in on volatile activity. That's exactly what this short report was. They're like, rappers, down 17%. That's literally what it was. Didn't Hindenburg short Enphase? Can someone find that out? I don't know. If they did, they got destroyed on that short, especially if it was within the last 2 years. So yeah, I mean, we will, I actually don't know about that, but Enphase now 212. Hindenburg, yeah, I don't know their track record. I got to do some research on that today. I really don't know their track record. I know, did they short? No, Scorpion Capital shorted Ginkgo Bioworks. I think Hindenburg shorted at another couple of stocks. Can we check that out right now? Which stocks that Hindenburg has shorted? They shorted Twitter and they shorted Nikola. So they were right about Nikola. They shorted Twitter at one point. They shorted Clover Health. I think they were right about that. Adani Group. I think they're still right about that. Adani Group has lost like $50 billion in market cap. Condi and Lordstown Motors. So they've got some correct, right? If they did Enphase, then they're wrong on that. I got to go through their overall history. If they are usually, 80%, 70% right, then maybe they have something on Square that it's not apparent to me yet, but they might be wrong. Nikola. I think I found Hindenburg's track record study per a LinkedIn post. Okay, I think you're gonna put that in the chat, so we'll see. I didn't feel like fixing the spelling. Yeah, Hindenburg made them bags. Prescience Point Capital Management shorted Enphase. Okay, so Chris, when they shorted them? Was it at like 340 at the top or no? It is only down so much because they were so right. That's a good point, Tanner. Yeah, Adani. Look, they were right about Adani. Or I don't know if they were right, but they were. It's so. Oh man, can I sell the story? Yes, I can tell the story now because it's time. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys this story live. So do you guys know who runs Hindenburg Research? Do you guys know by any chance who runs Hindenburg Research? They shorted them in 2020. Well, they might have been right if it was before COVID, but if it was when it went from 20 to like 100, then they got that wrong. At $60. Oh, so they were right when it was at 60 because then it went down to 20. Yeah, that's true. They have a ton correct, but they are probably wrong here. PayPal is down as well, right? Because of this thing. PayPal is down. Where's PayPal? PayPal's wow. Well, yeah, PayPal's barely down. It's 1.97%. PayPal has had a dramatic decline. If you look at the max on PayPal, it was a 310. Now PayPal did 7.3 billion in revenue. It's growing 7% year over year. So if someone asked me on the morning show, do you do PayPal or SoFi? I would pick SoFi because I think they can 5x in 5 years. PayPal growing at 7% year over year, you're not 5xing. You're maybe 2xing, and that's if the market likes you. Amit, Hindenburg has already disclosed what they have against Square. I don't think it's a maybe. Well, no, I know they're short Square. My question is, it's a maybe of if they're right about it or wrong about it. Like, maybe they're right about this whole idea that rappers using it means it's fraud, but they could be wrong about that too, right? But yes, they have disclosed about it. Do you short any stock? I do not short any stock. So Nate Anderson runs Hindenburg. And okay, so you guys are going to like the story. A month ago, I got on the phone with Nate Anderson. I got on the phone with this guy. That's crazy, right? Like, how the heck is Amit talking to Nate Anderson on the phone? What is going on? Literally, I'm on the phone with this guy a month ago. This is so funny. I was telling Chris about this when it happened a month ago. So it's so ironic because Hindenburg is getting, they're announcing their short today, and I'm telling you guys, I knew I would always have a good time to tell the story, and I feel like now is the best time. So basically, Nate Anderson needed to get in contact with somebody, okay? And there's this law called 6 degrees of separation, which is you are 6 degrees away from someone. So theoretically, all of you are 6 people away from Elon Musk right now. And like, technically, It's true. You guys are all 6 degrees. I'm 6 degrees away. I'm actually 2 degrees away from Elon Musk if I actually go super deep into it because of some of the people I know. Not saying I'm going to be able to get in contact with Elon Musk or anything, but everyone is 6 degrees away from someone they want to know, right? You're a DM away, you're an email away, blah, 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 blah. So Nate Anderson needed to get in contact with someone badly, and he didn't know how to get in contact with them. So he contacted a YouTuber that he knows, and that YouTuber said, hey, Amit might know the guy. Like, it was, bro, when I got this phone call, I was like, what the fuck? Nate Anderson from Hindenburg is calling me? It was actually a text message I got from him, and then we got on the phone. He was like, hey, I don't know this guy, but Amit might know this guy. And then he texts me. He's like, hey, Amit, it's Nate from Hindenburg Research. Do you have a chance to talk? And I'm just like, yeah, let's talk. And then he gets me on the phone, and I'm like, oh, I actually do know that person. And so then I used my political capital to get him in contact with that person, which actually might do some well for me, because I mentioned I have a startup, and he was like, oh, thank you for helping me out. I'm interested in like hearing the pitch for your startup. I haven't contacted him about the pitch yet because I just haven't got a chance to reach out to him, but I think I might actually reach out to him now because I did him a solid and I got him in contact with someone. And I don't know if that helped a lot, but I tried my best and I got him in contact with someone. So you're like, bro, if you're shorting Square, you want to invest in an audio app because maybe that has more potential than a faulty, fraudulent cash app. But it was pretty cool. If you're 2 degrees away, guess I'm 3. Yes, all of you guys are now 3 degrees away because you have access to me. And if any of you DMs me and needs me to get access to someone, I'm not saying I can definitely help, but I can try in some situations. But it was really cool. So yeah, it's a little story about how he needed to get access to someone. And I honestly did have access to the person he was asking, it was hilarious that I actually am in a situation in my life that I have access to the person he needs access to. And then, yeah, it was kind of cool. So be careful about pitching your startup. He might release an on-dia short report. Well, the thing is, again, we're a pre-seed company. We're taking on angel investors. You don't really short these companies because they're expected to fail, right? If you bet on them and they go to the moon, it's great. If you don't, they're kind of expected to fail. Square, that's a public company that's putting up public financials, that's, managing institutional investors and promising them that they're going to be growing at 30, 40%, blah, 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 blah. You can't lie on those things. Like Twitter, I don't know if you guys remember, on Twitter's last earnings before they got bought out by Elon Musk, they said that their DAUs and MAUs, their daily active users and monthly active users, were actually incorrect by a factor of 2 to 6% because one account signing in for another account was counting as multiple users, even though those accounts, like if you didn't touch the account for like a month, it would still count as a monthly active user, which was not the case. So they had to go from like 218 million MAUs to like 216 million MAUs, which is not the worst decline, but losing 2 million MAUs is still not good because investors are thinking you're growing at 218 when you're actually growing at 216. But then Elon bought them the month after. So like their MAU DAU decline really didn't matter that much in terms of the stock movement because Elon Musk bought the company, right? So that was kind of the issue. I actually want to pull up that article for you guys to kind of show you this. Yeah, here we go. April 28th, 2022, and then Elon Musk bought the company. Yo, this is a great one. Elon, Farzad, Amit, Tanner, crazy world. Yo, all of us, if you guys know Farzad, we all have access to Farzad, right? Because, well, not all of us have access to Farzad, but me and Farzad are actually good friends. We DM a decent amount, like we talk a lot, and he was giving me advice on a lot of different things. Because me and I actually knew, I was talking to Farzad before he became the Twitter Elon celebrity that he is, where he's casually talking with Elon Musk. I tease him about it. I'm like, bro, you're literally casually talking with the richest guy on the planet, and he's just replying to your tweets. It's like hilarious. But theoretically, right, if you needed to get access to Elon and Farzad, maybe Farzad could get you in touch. I'm just kidding. But like that concept of being degrees of separation away from someone, it's a really like interesting mindset, because if you need to get in contact with someone, just putting yourself in the frame of mind that it is possible is a good way to think about it. So let's look at this, right? They're recast an MDAU. So internationally, right, they said they had 155 million DAU in Q4 2020. It was actually 154. They said they had 192 global DAU. It was actually 190. 37 in the US. It was actually 36. So the difference is negligible, right? If you look at the difference chart right here, but they were still wrong about it. The difference in this short report, let me pull it up right here. Let's share this tab instead, is that former employees estimated that 40 to 75% of accounts they reviewed were fake. So even if you take 40% of 50 million, that's 20 million accounts that are fake. So you got 30 million left, right? And that is where it's like, if they're right about that and you've got 20 million fake accounts, that's not a 0.1, 0.3% discrepancy. That's like bad. That's just bad, right? And so that's not the best. Are they paid to do a short report? No, they're never paid to do a short report, but they're already up 17% on their short. So, companies that do short reports, they are trying to really collapse the company because they think, the idea of shorting in and of itself is that you don't believe the company is performing correctly. And as a stock market that has winners and losers, you're allowed to bet against companies succeeding. And so if you issue a short report, you are betting that this company is doing so. Like, for example, I am publicly bearish on Spotify, right? I've said many times, and Netflix. I said, I don't like these businesses. I don't like these companies. Spotify's networking assets and capital, they're lying about that because they have to pay out the record labels at the end of the year. So they say they have like $1 billion. They don't actually have $1 billion because that, like, there's so many arguments you can make, right? If I wanted to publicly short Spotify, I could make a ton of arguments. I could spread a little bit of buzz. Now, I don't have as much reach as Hindenburg, which is why if you're going to short a company, you better have some reach because a lot of people need to know about it. But Spotify's at 132. It's up nicely from $69 at its low back in December 2022. I don't want to short Spotify because the market's irrational. And even though I think, they're not the most sound business model with the content cost they have and the fact that the record labels take 75% of the revenue, I wouldn't publicly short it, right? So if I was publicly shorting it, I would need a lot of people to believe that Spotify deserves to not be at $132. And so what Hindenburg is doing is they're not getting paid for this, but they're making an argument that they don't think Square deserves a $44 billion market cap. Now the market cap is $35 billion. They have shed, $9 billion of market cap within minutes, literally within minutes. And so, if you have that much reach and you make a really compelling argument and a lot of people want to pile onto that, then it's just a question of how low can it go and how much money can they make on the downside as it goes lower. But if you're not ready to publicly short a company and have a pristine argument, like as much as I think Spotify's business model sucks, like the market likes that they're growing users. And that's why the stock is up a good 20, 30% from its lows, right? Like, and like you got to have a really fundamental argument for why a company deserves to go down. And that usually either results in lying or fraud or just like complete mismanagement of the business. And it can't be dictated on like Netflix falling was a macro thing more than it from 700 to 100. That was a macro thing, right? That was interest rates are going up. Netflix is back to 300. It's growing. And even though I don't like Netflix's business, I don't think I would buy puts on it. I wouldn't short the company. And so that's why it's a dangerous game when you're shorting and you got to take shorts reports seriously because that means those people they really think that the company is doing bad. I hope they don't short Palantir. Yeah, I mean, look, Palantir is not committing fraud or anything like that, so I don't think they would be doing that. If they are right about fake accounts, where are they going to go the revenue from? So that means the average revenue per user. There's two things: either their Square is lying about the revenue, which I don't think is happening, or their average revenue per user is up off like 30 million accounts versus 50 million accounts. So they have less accounts but more revenue per user, which actually is not the worst thing in the world. But if you're lying about the user growth because you want to show more growth in the business, then that is bad, right? So the revenue is real. It's just they're getting it from a short amount of users. Define fake. Does that mean people set up accounts and using fake names and info to use the app anonymously or just completely fake users? The way I understood that TechCrunch article is like if I have two accounts, right? Amit and then not Amit, right? And I sign into the Amit account once and I start tweeting from it. Even though I made the not Amit fake account, so I made it, right? So it is an account, but I never signed into it on the month or on the daily. It was still counting as if it's a daily and monthly active user just because I set up the account. It's on Twitter. If you've played with the Twitter app, you can like literally click from one account to the other if you have multiple accounts. So just by the very nature of having multiple accounts, Twitter was saying, oh, Amit has two accounts. Even though he's only using one of them monthly and daily, he's never signing into the second one, but he has it on his phone. Therefore, that account counts as a monthly and daily active user. That's why the difference was negligible at the tune of like 1 million users, but it was still 1 million accounts that Twitter basically counted as like theoretically MAUs that were fake or that were just not using the account. Could it be bots just like when Twitter was under Jack? That'd be interesting if we have bots on Square. I don't know, but yeah, maybe there's bots. Well, the short report did say that a lot of these are frauds. So like one user is making 50 accounts and then they're trying to do some type of financial fraud. So those are theoretically bots. But would have to look deeper into the report and see it. Funny they missed all the regional banks wasting 2 years. Yeah, that's true. They spent 2 years on this short report, and they missed all the regional banks. Now, again, the regional banks, it's more because of the Silicon Valley collapse, but still, if they were going to short a company, there's plenty of other companies to short in the past couple months. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for being here. 260 people means the world. I'll have clips coming out throughout the day. Late night stock talks tonight, 9 to 10 p.m. with Chris. We'll be diving into this report. And then 10 to 10:30, Daily Cowbell. We will be discussing this report and probably some other stuff as well. Thank you all for being here. Have a great day. Today's Thursday, right? One more day left till Friday, and then we end out this week. Thank you all, and I will see you tomorrow and later tonight. Bye-bye.